This is my favorite. This is our off-road dune buggy. This is inspired by our radio control car racing days. It's you can see the driver in it. Like if that was a kid in it, this car would be huge. So we are going to be chopping it up a little bit more. But this is cool because this is going to be an off-road race car. It's gonna come as two-wheel drive, but be easily adaptable to four-wheel drive if you want. We make it come as two-wheel drive to make it affordable for you in the beginning, and not everybody needs it. If you're just running around in your lawn, you don't necessarily need four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive is gonna drain batteries quicker. It makes it not turn as tight. But for the diehard off-roaders, you're gonna have four-wheel drive option. Those lights will be working. I'm sure everybody's gonna wanna upgrade the speed in it, so this will all 4 gearboxes will be our Phoenix gearboxes on it and, expandable battery tray. Just a lot of fun stuff for it. Different sticker packages available for all the cars too, so you can customize them your way. Uh, Probably make the wheelie bar adapt to it yet, but we're not quite sure. I don't know if there'll be need for that. We'll see.
Reminds me of a grasshopper.
It's actually started, my inspiration was the old Tamiya Rough Rider and Super Champ, for the old guys listening to the show. So, yeah, it definitely is inspired by RC car, it's California dune buggy style. It's got plenty of ground clearance with it. It's gonna use our taller tires and, we've learned what makes cars not go in the grass, mud, dirt, hills. So, we're hopefully gonna conquer that with this. It'll have an off-road tread pattern too.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. I want to track back because this wasn't an easy decision. You said there was a lot of anxiety. You went, I know through our conversations, you went different roads prior to this. None of them kind of worked. How, I guess my question would be, uh, how does one start this? Like, and a better question, what are some of the things that you were going to do different to these that you've learned from other vehicles that you worked on over the years?
Yeah, so I mean, what we're gonna do different is durability. That's number 1. When you modify these cars with these cheap cars that are coming from overseas, what the problem we're seeing is you put a new motor in it, the gearbox gives up. If you had a stronger gearbox, the electronics give up. If you had stronger electronics, the steering system gives up. So everything is gonna be designed to be a little bit beefier right from the get-go to handle, what you guys want your kids to be able to do with them. Um, we tried partnering with auto manufacturers. They want licensing fees that are just ridiculous, and it doesn't make a better car just because it looks like a particular real car. I don't want to name names. So we abandoned that idea. My thought is after we have these three cars proving their worth on the market for a couple of years, I'm going to charge the automotive manufacturers to have their name on my car. Yes, I'm going to be like, look, if you want to make an F-150 Raptor, you're going to pay us to have the best F-150 Power Wheel Raptor on the market today. I'd love to get it to that level. Why should I be paying them when I'm putting kids into cars that they're going to want to drive when they get their driver's license?
Good way of thinking. Good way of thinking. Big project, Alan. Big project.
Huge project. So we have um, the company in China that makes our modification parts. This is some fun, interesting stuff for you guys. Stuff I've learned over the years. All of these cheap cars coming from overseas. There's like a couple square block area in China that all these cars are made in, and they don't all necessarily make the car. Some of them will make the electronics. Somebody will make the tires, and they conglomerate together and come up with this stuff. The company we've been working with forever is really into making them better quality. They understand that that's how they separate themselves from everybody else. And that's how we've been able to come up with a lot of these better electronics, the better gearboxes and things that are unique to us. And that's another nice thing is this company works uniquely with us. Um, so they've been pushing me for 10 years to make our own car. And I again, we just finally got to the point where we can do that. And so he's able to use his power, um, with the other companies to get the components we need built at a higher quality level. They all always have the capability to do it, but I don't know if it's the culture, the economy, or whatever it is over there. They tend to make things the cheapest way they can do it. So we're going to change that. And the cheaper cars are always going to be out there. You haven't heard me say I'm going to make the least expensive cars on the market. So there is going to be a need for less expensive cars, but less expensive definitely is cheaper. So he's helping us design the car. So the way this works is we're going to spend most of the summer into the fall in design phase. It's one thing to have a drawing, but then they now have to put this into computers and figure out, well, where do we fit the gearboxes? Where do we fit the batteries? 3D CAD, how this expandable battery tray is going to work. What about suspensions in the cars? And that's all got to get designed, and we're going to go back and forth a bunch on that, and get as perfected as we can. And then at some point, we have to start making the molds for the plastic parts. Um, and when you make a mold, you have to pay for the mold, and you have to try it on the car. And if it's not right, that mold's in the garbage, and you got to pay for another mold to get it right. You really can't modify a whole lot. So there's going to be R&D time over the winter time, and of course, at some point they have to ship cars to us, which takes time for us to put our own kids into and let them test them in a variety of conditions. Hopefully, we don't have too much back and forth time with that, which costs a lot of time and costs a lot of money. And we get, by the late spring, a finished product that's you know, packaged, which is a whole nother issue on packaging the cars to ship overseas, and what we call third party logistics. Right now we ship all of our parts out of our one location that we have, but you don't do that with a ride on car. They need to be strategically located around the country to keep shipping costs to a minimum. So there's going to be that issue to learn and work with, and yeah, get them out to everybody. So that's what we're doing at ML Toys right now.
Yeah, you're pretty busy, pretty busy. Okay. Quick questions. You said they're not gonna be cheap. What is the price range we're looking at for these vehicles?
Early to say.
Too early?
I would like even like the off-road car, I'm sure will be the most expensive one. My goal is it needs to be under $1,000.
Okay.
I know that there are people selling cars for more than that today, and they are moving, and that's great. Um, to 800 would be an ideal footprint to me, but it's way too early to say. So
Now, will these cars be faster or better equipped with better electronics and all that stuff than that you already have tested and tried and tuned, and then people can just go faster from there if they want?
so one of the things hurdles we have to work with is there are regulations in the United States. I believe we're going to have to cap them out of the box at 5-6 miles per hour. There's no regulations on modifying the cars after the fact. So that's why they're all going to come starting at that 12 volt with the base speed level that we're used to today. But then you'll be able to go nuts after that.
Got you, got you. And to your point about dealing with the factory, this sounds a lot like I've never dealt with them personally, but I've watched JQ deal with them and dealings with his RC stuff. And to get a factory that does what you want over there with minimum cost, at not minimum cost, but minimum time wasted, because I'm sure it's very similar to the RC industry. There's people that make certain aspects of cars, there's people that make the metal side, mold side, all that type of stuff. But these factories, even if you had experience with them for many years, they screw you over in little ways that you may not even realize. Like, I'll give an example. One of the ways that they screwed us over was these screws. They knew these screws break, right? They know they break, but they still have them and they put them in a kit. So people buy a batch of kits, the screws are breaking. And it's really important to have a great relationship with that factory over there to get this done, because now you're dealing with much bigger projects, much bigger molds. I mean, to get molds done in the RC industry is expensive, right? And they're smaller, way smaller than this. So I couldn't even imagine what the cost of a body mold for these is like, or tire molds and all this type of stuff. So lots of cost, but when you have a company like that, there I know what you mean, time wasted because it takes so much time, right? An email her that takes a day to respond or 2 days to test, gets back to you. Then they have Chinese New Year, which nobody really knows how long lasts. Sometimes it's 3 weeks, sometimes it's 6 weeks, who knows, right? These are all the manufacturing uh, it's not as efficient over there as people think it is. It's you gotta pick through the weeds to find the flowers.
Yeah, we've
So
been working with this manufacturer for about 10 years now, maybe longer. I have a really good relationship with him. We chat almost every day.
there you go.
Um, to understand the difference in the culture, what we tend to think about. This guy drives a real Ford Raptor
Right.
F-150. His daughter's got a Mustang GT. Like, he's a car guy. He gets it. He's also a big entrepreneur. He gives speeches around China, uh, helping people learn how to run businesses properly with proper quality. It's a pretty rare thing, over there. So I'm very fortunate that we've teamed up together, and his company. I constantly get pictures of the factory, that it's clean, that there's no child labor in it, and things like that. And I'm sure I'll be making at least one trip to China in this process as well. I don't see not doing that, to get this all done.
I was about to say that because Jakey has to go over there once a year
Yeah,
to get things done. So that'd be a good trip, going over to China, seeing a different culture, all that type of stuff.
yeah,
Good stuff, man. I'm super excited for you. I'm always excited to see my friends and associates do well and aspire to do things different. This is a big thing you have going on. And I know you're gonna be successful because you've made it because of you. Not because of you, but you're a big part of why there's an industry for all of this right now. And the word Power Wheels is, and I'm very happy to see you embracing the racing side of things. I remember me